Hello, greetings, and welcome everyone to this news video. I am the Ninjineer. The topics we're covering today are as follows. Notable changes in the EU EV industry. Solid state again. Electric duo on Aptera. BYD suing the US. Telo at the Super Bowl. Bluetooth is working. Electric cars and the winter autofocus. Atlas 1 complete. Let's get started. All right, so there was a bit of growth, a healthy amount of growth, some people would say, in the European Union when it comes to the car market in general, but specifically with relation to battery electric vehicles. There were news headlines saying that electric vehicles had passed ICE vehicles in their production and sales and new registrations and things like that. And I had to look into it. The best place I knew to come was the ACEA website. They track this stuff for the European Union and for several other places, as you can see here, specifically countries in the area. But yeah, I'm looking at the European Union specifically because all of these news stories we're talking about it, specifically reuters and things like that. So as you can see, there is a breakdown of the current sets of vehicles that are sold and how much of the market they make up. You'll see that petrol or gas cars would make up 26% of the market, while electric vehicles make up 17.4%. What I think most people are talking about is the fact that hybrid vehicles are higher than gas cars, but that has been the case for quite some time. So I'm not entirely sure where people are finally catching on that the electric vehicle market is doing well in the EU, but the battery electric vehicles, which is the only thing that I count as an electric vehicle, quite frankly, is actually still smaller than petrol or gas cars. Hybrid electric vehicles are starting to really get a lot of the market share in Europe. Battery electric is increasing at a rate. Let's see, battery electric vehicles. Oh no, this is just overall registrations. All right, so yeah, battery electric vehicles are increasing. This is more than what they were last year, but they are still not more than petrol. And again, I don't really count hybrids because they're just gas cars with more complexity, at least in my opinion. So yeah, just interesting trends. Everything is going fairly well in the EU with respect to the transition away from gas cars. I wish the hybrid electric vehicles were a little bit less common, but I do understand why they're more common. So that's, you know, kind of neither here nor there. All right, here we go again. This particular video is by 2-Bit davinci, and he talks about the first solid state battery. Well, I shouldn't say first in parentheses. I should say first solid state in parentheses. This battery at the end of the day does have liquid in it, which makes it not solid state by definition, although technically speaking, the definition to solid state batteries has not been defined, which is another reason why I am still so nonchalant or not caring or show me the proof when it comes to solid state batteries specifically, because we don't even have a solid definition for the solid state batteries, and we also don't really have a, because it's not well defined, everybody is claiming to have solid state batteries, and solid state batteries are at least as far as this video is concerned, only different from regular batteries in the sense that their anode and cathode structures are slightly different. A lot of the issues that exist now in regular batteries, I guess wet batteries or whatever you want to call them, are the same as some of the drawbacks in this particular solid state. Yeah, I don't know what will ever constitute a solid state battery. And because that definition is so nebulous, I am not even certain that we will ever actually have a solid state battery from the convention of a battery that is specifically no liquids in the battery at all. This is not that. So, I mean, in a way, they've gotten a step closer to solid state, but I wouldn't necessarily call this a solid state from the way that I understood and the way that they are implying solid state batteries should be. So yeah, another solid state battery, another company claiming solid state, and yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to talk about this in a way that is more neutral to the companies, because I do believe what they have achieved, well, this particular company, I do believe they have achieved something interesting and novel in this particular instance. Because of the way this battery is built, it still gets the same energy densities and things like that that you would expect from a quote unquote solid state battery. The way that it works is really cool. It is less heavy than regular batteries, and as they are illustrating here, the way that it actually charges and discharges, it increases in size as it charges and decreases in size as it discharges. So this is very different than a regular conventional battery. I want to emphasize that it is different than a conventional battery, but it is not, in my opinion, a full solid state because there's liquid in the battery. But anyway, this thing exists. It is another iteration on battery technology. It is, in my opinion, the next step, but I don't know if solid state is the way to go with the naming for this thing. Anyway, yeah. All right, so this video is done by a group or a couple called the Electric Duo, Patrick and Liv. They do a fantastic job of going through the Aptera facility and asking questions and covering the things that are cool to be covered in said in a video such as this. I also made notes about their tour and about Aptera Owners Club tour, specifically because of the fact that when Aptera Owners Club made his impressions video, he talked about basically everything that I wanted to talk about. So what I'm going to do instead is kind of go over something that he didn't necessarily talk about, which is the differences in the coverage of the assembly floor between the three groups that went there: myself, Aptera Owners Club, and the Electric Duo. Based on how the videos are set up and where the vehicles were on the assembly line, I believe that I was the first one there. That was confirmed, I believe, by Chris McCammon, who said that I was the first one there. But it also shows on the assembly line because the vehicles are moving down the line as we visit. I believe I visited... I visited during the weekend of the 14th. I believe that the Aptera Owners Club came the week after me, and then Electric Duo came the week after that. So as you can see here in my factory tour, Chris McCammon actually says that they're at Station 6 with this vehicle, and this vehicle, that as far as I could see, was the furthest along on the line.
Stage.
Sure.
So yeah, this is where the GloGo panels go on, as you can see.
Right.
And actually the entire front end really comes in on Station 6, which is where this vehicle is at right now.
Right. So he says Station 6 is where they are with this particular vehicle. Now with the Aptera Owners Club, you can also see that this is the first vehicle on the line, and it is also moved down to what I believe is Station 8. The reason why I believe it is Station 8 is because right there I believe that is an 8. I cannot see it specifically. Let me go ahead and see if I can full screen it. And okay, yeah, so this is station 8, and this was the vehicle that I saw when I was down there. So the reason why I know that it's the same vehicle, this says build number 1. I looked at build number 1 as well.
We don't need a very
So
big
let me
one.
go ahead and
very big vehicle.
get around here. You can't see the 1. Let me see if I can get a good picture of the 1.
Air intake, so we need to replace your filter. It's
Okay, you can't see build 1, unfortunately. But yeah, anyway, I guess you're gonna have to take my word for it that this is build number 1 on station number 6. And Aptera Owners Club video, it was build number 1 on station number 8. And then you notice that there is a vehicle behind here that is moving along the line as well. That vehicle and this vehicle here are both further along when the electric duo comes through. So this is why I believe that I was the first. This is why I know that I was the first, because Chris McCammon said I was. The second would be Aptera Owners Club. Then the third would be the electric duo. Yeah, that was something that I hadn't seen anybody talking about in the videos overall. So I just wanted to kind of bring that out and emphasize it. All right, so there are companies that are really, really big that are trying to fight back against the U.S. government's tariffs. BYD is among them. BYD is not by any stretch the only one or even the biggest one that is fighting this particular battle, but this story is notable to me because of the fact that BYD is not only seeking refunds for the tariffs charged to them, for the potential business lost, etc., etc. They are also apparently suing for the rights and ability to sell vehicles in the U.S. without tariffs. That will be a big deal, especially if the U.S. government loses this particular lawsuit. And with the skills that I have seen from Ms. Bondi, I believe that it is very possible that they will lose and lose hard. But anyway, yeah, if BYD wins this lawsuit, then it will be just another push forward for the EV industry in general, but not necessarily for EVs in the US. I believe that if China does actually win this lawsuit and does actually make it to producing vehicles in the US and selling vehicles in the US, then I don't know what the future will be for any automaker here. Not because I don't think they can compete, but because I don't believe they want to compete. So even if BYD does come here, the level of interest that the bigger automakers have shown in producing electric vehicles has waned. I don't know if that interest is going to ramp back up again, or if they're just going to say, oh shoot, we're done for, because they're good at that when it comes to electric vehicles. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm apprehensive about this change, but I do believe that overall it could be a really good thing for the consumer. The companies themselves are going to struggle for some serious time. If they ever do catch up, it's going to be after years of studying their competition, which is what they should have been doing in the first place, but I digress. Anyway, BYD is suing the US, and I feel that this is potentially good for the auto industry, the electric vehicle industry overall, and for the consumer if these vehicles get here without as many tariffs. All right, so the Telo went to the Super Bowl. Basically, they did a video about people looking at the Telo truck and being dumbfounded and awestruck and things of that nature. So yeah, it was a good video. It was a fun video. A lot of good humor in there. But yeah, I would suggest watching it just because you get to see an R2 as well as the Telo truck kind of side by side, and well, not kind of side by side, you get to see them in the vicinity of one another, and so you can kind of guesstimate their size differences of the two vehicles and things like that. Okay, so speaking again on the topic of the Aptera moving down the assembly line, Steve Fambro put out a post that basically said, hey, we got Bluetooth, and the pairing is very easy. He put out another post a little while ago about how it's the little things that make the vehicle complete that they are working on now, and I was under the suspicion that they would be done with their entire process sooner than later, especially with the dichotomies or the differences between my video, Aptera Owners Club video, and Electric Duo's videos. So yeah, I was expecting this, like when they're putting the final touches on, it's probably just about done. Yeah, and so later on, he put out this post. Atlas 1 is the 9th vehicle we've built, and there's 10 more behind it on the assembly line, onwards and upwards. So this, to me, implies that they are done with their first Atlas vehicle. They have a serial number and all that kind of fun stuff on it. 5W2. I want to know what that means, so I'm going to do some research and see if I can't find it out. But obviously, all of these zeros in the 9 means that this is the 9th vehicle that they've made. But yeah, so it's really cool to see that this progress seems to back up my logic on how long it was going to take them to finish their first vehicle. I figured it was going to take them another month, and it has been almost exactly a month since I visited the factory and saw their progress at that point. So cool things there. The last story we're talking about today is a Marquez Brownlee video. He talks a lot about the electric vehicles in the winter and what his preferences are in that respect, and he seemed to come to a general conclusion that EVs in certain situations are better in the winter, and ICE vehicles are better in certain situations in the winter as well. So you have to kind of watch the video to see what balances these two dichotomies out. So yeah, I would say check it out. It's a good video. It gave me a lot of things to think about when it comes to getting an electric vehicle, specifically Aptera for Colorado, and things to prepare for and what have you. So yeah, watch this video. It's really good. All right, that will about do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am the Ninjaneer. Again, thank you all for your support throughout this Aptera journey that we are taking together. I can hardly wait to get more content out to you guys. I am thinking up new ideas and new things to do. We'll see how those things pan out over time. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here, for watching the videos, for paying attention to this little startup company and this little channel. Yeah, appreciate y'all and have a great rest of your day.